Anime and manga in the present times are firmly established pillars of our modern society's pop culture. This wasn't always the case, however, and while the medium has existed for decades, it wasn't exactly taken seriously except for a few outliers. Jojo's Bizarre Adventure is definitely one of those franchises that contributed massively towards raising the curtains of obscurity on the anime and manga world and propelling them to the forefront of modern pop culture. While it might not be the most popular anime/manga out there, the franchise has carved out its own unique place. The brainchild of mangaka Hirohiko Araki, Jojo's Bizarre Adventure made its debut in Shounen Jump in 1987, with a cast of colorful characters and a unique onomatopoeia-laden art style, and not to forget its flamboyant fashion and poses, Jojo captivated everyone's attention. This series has gone on to spawn numerous memes and Easter eggs in other shows to the point that almost everything is jokingly referred to as a Jojo reference by fans of the series. Putting aside the memes though, Jojo is a great story set in an extremely well-crafted universe by Hirohiko Araki. It follows the lives of the Joestars across several generations as they become embroiled in a supernatural adventure involving vampires while awakening powers themselves. Unlike most series that only have one main protagonist, in Jojo's Bizarre Adventure there are a number of characters that take on the mantle of the main hero/heroine. The word Jojo is a nickname and is inherited by a new Joestar who continues their family's feud against the vampires and other evil creatures. This is a unique experience as the audience is asked to become invested over and over again with a new character, and while this might seem like a formula for disaster, it's a testament to the quality of Hirohiko Araki's legendary work that rather than denting its value, it instead adds a uniqueness to the story. In today's marvelous anime video, we'll be exploring the character of the third man who inherits the name Jojo, Jotaro Kujo. We'll be discussing everything from the reason he doesn't have the Joestar surname to his appearance, motivations, and powers during the course of this video. Jotaro Kujo is arguably the strongest of the Joestars and is also the father of Jolene Kujo, whom we've covered at great lengths in previous videos. He's arguably the strongest Jojo to exist in the entire series, as proven by the various feats he performs during the course of the series, all of which we're going to discuss here today. So, without wasting any more time, let's dive right into this truly bizarre adventure. Early days. Jotaro Kujo was born in 1971 to Holy Kujo, who was the daughter of Joseph Joestar. Holy Kujo, whose original surname was Joestar, married Sadao Kujo and left with her husband to settle down in Japan, where Jotaro was born and raised. He's shown to have enjoyed a regular childhood, actively participating in sports and other activities like other children of his age. Jotaro grew up under his mother's supervision due to his father being constantly away from home. We're then introduced to him yet again when he's around 17 years of age. However, at this time, Jotaro seems to have entered his rebellious phase and started getting involved in delinquent activities. It's unclear whether he was acting up simply due to his age or trying to subconsciously get the attention of his father and grandfather, who were both missing from his life from a very young age. Regardless, in 1988, when Jotaro severely injures four hoodlums in a fight, he becomes terrified of his own strength and the growth he has seen in it. In a strange turn of events, he forces the police to place him in a locked cell, believing himself to be possessed by an evil spirit and a danger to those around him. Despite repeated efforts of his mother and the police asking him to leave the cell, Jotaro refuses and shoots himself in the head. However, the bullet doesn't even graze him. His mother then gets Jotaro's grandfather to deal with the situation, as the evil spirit that he so feared was nothing more than his stand awakening. He fails to convince Jotaro, who still refuses to believe in the fantastical things that his grandfather was asking him to, and Joseph then sends his friend Mohammed Avdal to find a way to make Jotaro believe his words. To this end, Avdal brings out his own stand named Magician Red and attempts to force Jotaro's stand to manifest fully, which he successfully does. Jotaro's stand finally manifests completely and defends him against Magician Red's abilities. With Jotaro at least convinced that he wasn't possessed by an evil spirit, Joseph begins to explain to his grandson their family's history and their eternal feud with the vampire Dio. Although Jotaro is not thoroughly convinced about what his grandfather is telling him, he soon finds out that every last one of those words is the deadly truth as he embraces his heritage and destiny. Appearance. The Joestar genes seem to be pretty strong within Jotaro as he embodies all the physical characteristics that we become accustomed to with his predecessors. Jotaro is by no means a small-statured man and is canonically said to be around 6'9" or 195 centimeters in height. He has very prominent facial features thanks to his chiseled square jaw, thick eyebrows, and deep green eyes. Like all Joestars, he too has a star-shaped birthmark on his body. though his outfit changes slightly during different parts of the story. For the most part, it retains the original idea behind it. He has his trademark ball cap that blends seamlessly into his outfit due to being torn at the back. He wears a trench coat with stiff collars, with the author stating that his entire outfit was inspired by a famous manga called Babel 2, a story about a boy in a Japanese school uniform. He's also seen sporting a well-fitted sleeveless shirt, which he pairs with pants that are held up by two belts with a tessellated triangle pattern, giving it a vivid look because of the alternate colors used on them. Jotaro completes the look with a pair of leather shoes. As stated, the finer details of the outfit do change from story to story, but it's designed in such a way that Jotaro is instantly recognizable every time he appears throughout the series. According to Hirohiko Araki, he wanted to make Jotaro a character that the readers could recognize as easily from the back as they do from the front, and dare we say he more than succeeded on that front. Ability: Star Platinum. Unlike his predecessors, Jotaro is not really able to use Hamon, which is an ancient breathing technique that allows the users to fight against vampires as mere humans. However, what Jotaro lacks with the mastery of this invaluable technique, he more than makes up for with arguably the strongest stand in the entire series. Before we get into Jotaro's stand, we feel that a small explanation of the nature of stands is in order. A stand is the manifestation of one's life force's given form. It normally takes the shape of a humanoid and gives its master supernatural powers that vary from person to person. Coming back to Jotaro, his stand is called the Star Platinum, and it's a close-range physical stand that is able to operate around 2 to 3 meters from him. Jotaro is able to decimate other stand users without even using Star Platinum's special abilities thanks to its overwhelming physical prowess. Combine this with its signature punch rush as it shouts "Ora, ora, ora," facing this stand is a truly intimidating task. Incredible speed and agility! Besides being extremely strong, Star Platinum is equally agile and fast. It's seen literally catching a bullet shot at point-blank range. The stand is also seen competing with the Silver Chariot, which is one of the fastest stands in the series for a decent period of time. Although it might be an exaggeration, Star Platinum's speed is said to exceed that of even the speed of light. Starfinger! The name of this ability might have clued you in, but this is Star Platinum's ability to extend its middle and index fingers by about a meter or so. This gives Jotaro a hidden weapon to use in case he wants to catch his enemies off guard, along with providing him some extra range during a fight. Self-preservation. While Jotaro might not have his arch-nemesis Dio's healing factor, his stand provides him with an added level of safety. It's kept him alive on several occasions without having to be prompted by Jotaro. We've seen it catch a bullet to his head, protecting him from Dio the World's ability, and reviving him by pumping his heart when all seemed lost. Time freeze. Star Platinum is shown to have the exact same powers as Dio's The World, whereby it can freeze time in a localized area for a set duration of time. In Jotaro's case, Star Platinum can freeze time for a maximum of 5 seconds. During this time, everything in the affected area seems to have been frozen except for Jotaro, which allows him to interact with everything freely without impediment. When the duration of the ability expires, it seems to the people afflicted that everything transpired within the blink of an eye, and they can't tell that time had been frozen for them. Although the ability to control time itself might seem overpowered, Jotaro cannot use this ability consecutively. Due to Jotaro not relying on this ability too much, we see that later on, it's only able to freeze time for a maximum of 2 seconds. However, during the events of the Stone Ocean story, he's able to push the time limit back up to 5 seconds. Due to this ability, Star Platinum is technically called Star Platinum The World, which is a nod to the antagonist's stand. Exceptional battle sense and intelligence. Jotaro is able to maximize his fighting potential by combining his own prowess with that of his stand. Whether it's using the stand's various powers by augmenting his own abilities, Jotaro is able to fully utilize Star Platinum's full strength. For instance, by releasing Star Platinum within himself, he's able to use the increased boost in strength to perform incredible leaps. He's also able to use its enhanced sight to perform reconnaissance activities so that he can better prepare for his foes or spot any danger from a much larger distance. Jotaro and Star Platinum perfectly pair with each other, with the former's incredible tactical acumen and the latter's incredible powers, making them incredibly strong, perhaps the strongest Jojo out there. Personality and motivation. While designing this character, Araki wanted someone to contrast the first couple of protagonists for the show. If one follows the series from the beginning, you'll notice that Jonathan Joestar is more of the traditional heroic archetype, and Joseph Joestar is designed as a flamboyant and cheerful character. Jotaro, on the other hand, is a much more reserved and stoic character in comparison to the two we just mentioned. He has an air of aloofness about him, keeps his emotions well hidden, and doesn't easily display them even in the heat of battle. While in his teen years, he's shown to be quite a delinquent, getting into fights with thugs and gang members, his heart is still in the right place as Jotaro is extremely loyal and gentle to those he cares about. For instance, when he perceived that something was wrong with him thanks to his stand, of which he was unaware at the time, Jotaro voluntarily locked himself up in a police cell in order to not put the people he cared about in danger. This also shows how perceptive he is about things. When his mother's stand is forcefully awakened due to the return of Dio, and she falls asleep, Jotaro displays genuine concern despite what many might normally interpret as his cold demeanor. As the series goes on, he makes a number of allies, all of whom he goes above and beyond for, even risking his own life to save them. The greatest example of this is the bond of friendship he cultivates with Kakyoin, despite the latter having been his foe earlier in the story. Even if he was under the control of a flesh bud, it's not easy for someone to just become friends with a person who threatened your life, but Jotaro does so, and it goes to show how big his heart actually is. While he might indeed be the patron saint of coolness, there are moments in the series where he's shown to be genuinely distressed. For instance, when his mother falls ill, Kakyoin is murdered, or when Dio drains his grandfather's blood right in front of him. For the most part though, Jotaro exudes an aura of calmness even in the heat of battle, being able to make intelligent and tactical decisions that turn the tide in his favor. For example, when fighting Daniel J. D'Arby in a game of poker for the souls of everyone he has known and loved as the wager, thanks to his stoic nature and calmness, he makes D'Arby fall for his bluffs and folds his cards, making Jotaro the winner. This can also be seen in his fighting style, where he maximizes Star Platinum's potential by combining its destructive power and fantastical abilities with his high battle acumen, thanks to his cool and calm personality, which allows him to make highly intelligent battle maneuvers. Although he retains much of this personality, it seems that with age, Jotaro becomes much more relaxed and mellow. The big difference is that he seems to have become a lot less rude in the presence of others. However, he still doesn't hesitate to put himself in the firing line to save those he cares about. During the events of Stone Ocean, Jotaro's stoic personality finally seems to negatively impact his relationships, although he doesn't show it on his own face. In order to keep his wife and daughter safe, Jotaro is largely absent from their lives directly. He travels around the world fighting the supernatural foes of the Joestars in order to keep his family safe, but never mentions this to them, especially his daughter, who feels abandoned by him. In the end, Jolene realizes the love her father has for her after he uses the final 5 seconds of the world to save her. What makes Jotaro's character so compelling is that despite his supernatural abilities and do-no-wrong attitude, he's a flawed character, which makes him extremely grounded and adds layers to his personality. He's no savior of justice or the chosen one in the traditional sense, and while he never views himself as the paragon of justice, he accepts his fate as the chosen Joestar of his generation with much skepticism, not believing his grandfather's explanation initially. The irony is that while Jotaro is perhaps the most aloof and stoic of all the other JoJos in the series, he's the one who gets the most attention from fans. Jotaro's relationship with Clint Eastwood. You must be wondering what the relationship between Jotaro and the legendary Hollywood actor Clint Eastwood could possibly be. Well, to be honest, Jotaro was modeled by mangaka Hirohiko Araki after Clint Eastwood. This includes everything from his character to his catchphrase and poses. While it's hard to imagine Clint Eastwood striking a Jojo pose, it's true that Jotaro's classic finger-pointing pose is a homage to one of Eastwood's poses with a .44 Magnum. He wanted Jotaro to show as little emotion as possible while still managing to exude a lot of gravitas whatever scene he was in, just like Eastwood did in many of his films. The iconic Yare Yare Days catchphrase is designed to mirror similar short catchphrases that Clint Eastwood would use. Overall, despite this relationship, Jotaro manages to establish himself as a wholly unique individual. It's interesting to see how a Western actor inspired Hirohiko to design a character he specifically wanted to be Japanese. Marvelous verdict! For most anime fans who might have come across JoJo's bizarre adventure and not really paid attention to it, we're sure that it's Jotaro that they would have seen. Despite not being the first protagonist, he's certainly the most popular. From his hat to his poses, it wouldn't be a stretch to say that Jotaro is the one who pushed the series into the anime stratosphere. He's the perfect representation of a character that's written to subvert the expectations of what a hero's personality should be like. Jotaro is rude and aloof and doesn't seem to care what people think about him outside of the ones he cares about. He's not here to become the next Hokage and gain the respect of all his peers. Jotaro is simply caught up in his family's ancient feud and is doing all he can to save his mother and loved ones. It is this humanness and relatability mixed with the flamboyancy that makes Jotaro and JoJo's Bizarre Adventure so compelling to audiences. Well, we'd love to continue. Unfortunately, unlike Jotaro, we don't have Star Platinum's time-stopping powers, and we've come to the end of this video. Thanks for sticking with us right to the end. We cover all sorts of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure-related content on our channel, from lore expositions to character analyses, we've got it all. So if this video piqued your interest, be sure to check those out next. For now though, it's time for us to say goodbye. See you in our next marvelous video, and until then, stay safe and stay marvelous.